It's business as usual.
As usual, you already know.
You're looking sweet though.
Hey.
Did you had a business meeting or something?
Oh.
You're smelling good.
Something like that, you know.
That cream look nice on you.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
Makes that skin pop.
Oh, I appreciate you. Thank you. It's important to Nipade. You. It's important to look ideal, even if you're by yourself. I strongly believe in that.
That's true.
Yeah, I believe in that. What's going on?
Yo,
How you been?
the world
Obviously,
champion. I feel
Obviously, I
great.
don't know how you been.
I feel great because the world champion.
We diving right into it?
We are diving in.
Oh, we diving right into it?
We're diving right in.
Okay.
The world champion.
Uh-huh.
Africa's champion.
Uh-huh. Let's go.
Has regained his throne.
Oh, man. If you put it like that.
Has regained his throne. And it feels good.
Yeah, it sure does. Sure really does.
And it also just feels good when you're actually rooting for somebody. And, you know, you just see them win, you know?
100%. 100%.
So
I agree.
So tell them who we're talking about.
Come on now. Come on now. The one and only Style Bender. Adesanya. You know, the only reason why I'm half Nigerian, you know, that and of course, you know, the only reason why I'm Nigerian, but that's partially, you know, part of it. But yeah, 100%. Yo, I don't even know how to feel because, you know, it's that feeling where I felt like I was the one fighting, you know what I mean? And
yeah.
I'm still like I'm taken by, like, you know, this man's aura and this man's ability and, you know, this man's, you know, ableness to speak what he truly believes he could make happen and to actually, you know, watch it manifest. Like, it's just, you know, that's what I'm saying. I'm still basically, it feels like I'm the one who did the fight and it feels like I'm the one who fought. It feels like, because I'm that much of a fan, you understand? This is somebody who inspires.
Yeah.
You know, he really does it. He does inspire. I feel like Adesanya is like an inspiration. You understand? Especially because of, you know, the background, you know, the depth, the belief, how many, you know, how many years, of course, he's been doing what he's been doing. It really, really, really matters that you give him the props that you have to give him. You know? Yeah.
Man, I mean, even the speech that he gave, I mean, we were watching his whole training and everything, so we were keeping up with everything, but it just really felt good because he wanted it bad, you know? But it's not like he just wanted the belt back. He was proving something way bigger than the belt.
100%.
And that's where I felt like I related
100%
to him. And also when he gave that speech at the end and said that, you know, those moments where people just have their foot on your throat.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you mean his
yeah, like
winning
it just,
speech? Yeah, that was quite inspiring too.
It was.
And because, you know, the reasons why, because you could actually feel where it was coming from. You know, you could actually feel, you know, in real time. You know, you could feel the truth. You know, like you said, if you've paid attention to his entire training towards this fight, or even just look at the whole, if you're a fan, if you're a true fan, you know, you will look at I mean, what this will be considered as the fourth fight technically. But if you look at how it began to how it basically led up to last night, basically, it's just like it makes the story much more beautiful, and it makes what he said after the winning, I mean, after the fact, or basically his winning speech, it makes it even much more inspiring and much more, captivating. Because I was captivated. I was like, I felt it. And that's because it was the truth too. People never ever want to like, give credit where credit is due. People just don't know how to do it. I feel like, you know, it's just something that is not in people. I just have to put it like that, or just something that people just refuse to let people just get because probably they don't get it. Because I don't understand why, people choose sometimes or whatever times to not give credit where credit is due, or just hate on facts, or hate on or not just basically give a hard time. I don't want to use words like hate, that I don't want to use certain words that's going to seem to, so yeah, I push back on a hate word, whatever. But just people just sometimes can't give people a break. Sometimes people always have to like people give people such a hard time. It doesn't depend, I mean, it doesn't even matter. It's like
Yeah.
Fuck you if you're blessed in any kind of way. It's like, it's almost as if like, it's like, what the fuck are you? You understand, but yeah, that's what made it, at least to me, so beautiful, because I could feel it. I could feel how much people figured and thought that, he was done, he was washed up, figured out, But if you're someone like me, I pay attention to much more than just, the physical aspect of all of this, because what they do, or what any person on earth does, that has a level of like a level of themselves in it. It's not just about what you're seeing, like in this sport, in whatever sport, whether it be in sport and same, but in this case, in this sport, like, and that's how come it's different, and it's a two-person thing, because I see those same things in other people that do other sports or other type of things, right? You could just see the soul of that person within that thing too. So it's not, you just don't see it for the face value. You just don't see it for what basically it is. You feel it too.
Yeah.
You understand what I mean? Like, and that's how this person is towards fighting. So when I'm me as a fan, I'm watching someone like that. I'm not just watching it from the the punching. No, I'm watching about how much he's studying the fight, how much he's into it. That's how come I watch the Stylebender series. I watch the Embedded. I watch everything because I want to see how much both fighters are taking it serious. The dude also took it serious, but it's just that thing where, when is you is you. That's just it. When is you is you.
Yeah.
I think I said it somewhere. When is you. You can't fight it. Our people like to fight it. And if I say our people, because this part, it's a generalization of human, but it's best to sometimes speak about the humans that you're privy to, or the persons that
yeah,
that and on those bases, yes, something that
And one man sporting, not one man sporting, because not a sport is one man, because you always have a team, you have trainers, but sports that when you go in the cage, you're by yourself, versus when you're on the field, you're with, 4 or 5 other people, is very different,
100%.
Because at the end of the day, all that weight is on you, right? But when you're some of these team sports, sometimes no matter how much you practice, you're still dependent on other people too, to make sure the outcome.
Yeah, because it's
a team sport, right?
It's entire. It's not up to you.
But
Even this is a team sport, but basically, I get what you mean. When the cage is closed, it's just you.
It's just you. Like no one can come in there and jump with you
until 5 minutes. It's just you.
Yeah.
Until
no one can come in there and jump with you and put somebody for you, right? So
nobody's fighting for you.
But what I will say that I feel like what I do find very honorable, and what I feel like are in great people and in great leaders, is even at the time of them winning, they still can honor another great person, right?
Yeah, you can, yeah.
Right. So even at the time,
you mean the person they fought, their opponent?
like we sport is such a great analogy to life, right? That's why there's connectivity, right?
100%.
And that is so honorable, right? Where some people as a human being, you lack it when you're not an athlete or something like. But when Israel was speaking after the fight, and after everything he's been through with this guy, and what I was not a fan of the guy is the guy's lack of acknowledgement of who Israel was, regardless of you being the guy, right? That's one of the things I don't like, right? However,
I guess the guy's the same different. Listen. That's what made it sweet. That's what basically made it sweet because, and I guess that's what got him tuned in, because we all watched the first fight, and I refuse to let anybody tell me what they want to tell me. Israel won that first fight, but because of course he was knocked out. Because and I would not even call it. I'll call it a TK. I'll call it a technical knockout because. And that's based on a certain technicality. Are you understanding me? And in this case, the technicality was the referee calling it too early because he thought his head was down and he thought whatever it is. But I thought, because it's a man's sport, until you see blood and you see some type of thing that you have to call it quit. You don't have to call it quit until you see somebody on the ground unconscious and you're still stomping them in. But if somebody's still on their feet and their head is down, I don't think it's the grounds to call anything off. So that's why I think the first one still it was like Israel's fight. But whatever, whatever. After that, it started annoying me, just as you were just speaking about, like you too, because the guy leading up to the second or the rematch refused to let it give credit, refused to make it to let people like myself who watched the first fight, who saw his face being bashed in for fucking 3 rounds, refused to let any kind of credit go to his to Israel, his opponent, to make him feel like what you did, but rather making it seem like man, he just doesn't. It's so funny to me.
He hasn't evolved.
He hasn't evolved. He's still it's like, and he's like, okay, I guess you evolved. You understand? Because to be honest with you, a lot of people will not tell. He looks washed up. He looks washed up. I think this is the youngest he could even have. He looks old.
Well, he says he's younger than Israel.
I don't even mind about whatever he says he is, but I mean that because the body wears out. The body has a certain wear and tear when you do these type of sports.
Yeah.
And I feel like he looks like a giant. He looks like all of that type of stuff. But if you're looking at it like how probably someone like me looks at it, he looks like he fits in in a different just like he fits 205. He has to go up. Maybe that's why he seems washed up to me, because
lower weight.
That weight class is so active. Okay. If you look at everybody else that is there, it's like such a grimy active weight class. You understand? Even the people that are old don't look old.
Okay.
Cannonier, he's not no young buck, but if he's standing there, he doesn't look like he's some washed up, because the weight class is so active.
Okay.
Yeah, you understand? And you just came in that you literally just came in, just because you had a few wins with some washed up fighters, and then the most credible person you fought was Strickland. I think he's ass too. But that's who you beat, and just because of that, you going to fight. So give the guy credit. You fought your first fight. Yeah, you won the 5th round. They called it early for you, but he was beating you up, so you could at least acknowledge it some type of way. You could be like, he was doing, he caught me. I was like, you're gonna make someone like me a fan. But that's why I'm a Izzy. Izzy boy.
Israel said, because I'm Israel's petty, right?
100% petty.
I even realized that I'm a bit more pettier than him, because during the press conference he said, a champion will always be a champion.
Yeah. 100%.
No matter if they lost today,
a champ is a champ.
If they've been a champion, they're always a champ.
100%. I believe
now
that.
They may not be me, but
yeah,
they're always a champion, right? Meaning that a president is always a president. They may not go down in history being the greatest.
Listen,
right?
Donald Trump is still considered as President Trump, because once you've been a president, you've been a president.
And that's one thing. That's a big takeaway I took from him yesterday, because to see him go through all that, to see him still enjoy the win, but to still see him give the guy credit, right? To still acknowledge greatness within that guy too. After him being such a
different,
right?
He's cut different.
It's like, no, that's greatness right
cut
there.
Differently.
Right?
He's
That's
cut differently.
That's greatness right there. And
I just hope that, just as, because I'm able to watch that and, genuinely just, take so much from that. Genuinely. And it's because, I could recognize so many things that this person, is about, that I have in common with both Africans, both our living, blah blah blah. So many things that I could go over and over and over. It doesn't matter if he's Nigerian and I'm whatever it is. I could genuinely look at it from the inspiring aspect of it, which is what it is. You understand, like and for that aspect, that's why I take certain, because like I said, it's not from the. Look at how. In this same UFC, since we are on that topic, look at how I take Amanda Nunes, and look at how you take Amanda Nunes.
Amanda Nunes is what made me fall in love with UFC.
You understand me? And it's not like because Amanda Nunes is a woman, or because of this the whole what you call it
domination,
whatever, about her, the sex thing about her being a woman, or that doesn't,
she beating people's ass.
That does not make no difference for someone like me.
Does remain.
You understand? Because for someone like me, I'm just inspired by what I'm seeing. I'm just seeing a fighter. I'm seeing somebody who is beating the shit out of the opponents that they're throwing to her. She's beating them. She's smiling through it all.
She's a very friendly person.
She's beating them and smiling. She's beating them and letting them know that, bro, I could actually beat you and be mean, but I want to beat you and be friendly.
Yeah.
I want to beat you and just, can we go grab drinks?
And she's been through a lot too.
That's so inspiring when I watch someone like, it just, it gives you that feel of knowing that I could take this from this person. Yeah. This person inspires me in this way. Or this
like Francis, right? Francis is the same, where he's very dominant. Yeah, he's Francis, a big guy. Francis, right?
Yes.
But he's such a lovable person.
Because
has a genuine heart.
I feel with him, the reason why he's the one that exhibits that the most is because genuinely he's the one that's gone through the worst out of everybody. If you really think about it, he's really one of the ones who's gone through the worst ordeal more than anybody. The guy literally walked between continents. Walked till he had to get on water, had to survive on water, and then walked some more. Then after illegally get to a place, seek asylum, get denied, get whatever it is. Don't have no shit in your pocket, have to find means of survival, then go through all that, and then still, become whatever it is. Obviously, that man is going to be smiling all the time, because imagine if he's not doing that and thinking about what he has gone through. He will have to be basically kill everybody that he comes in contact with. You understand? Yeah, why would I would like shit.
Yeah.
Smile all the time, Mr. Ngannou, because if you don't smile, have you seen that human being? Or bow back one, who bet me with straight.
No, that's the truth.
Super giants.
No, that's the truth, because if you actually, anyone who's been attentive to even someone like Mike Tyson's transformation or evolution or growth, however you want to call it, that's one thing that he speaks highly about, of how when he was in the peak of his time of being the fighter that he was, he just did not like as he looks back at it, how he was filled with so much anger, right? How he was just filled with so much hate. This is why he's the person he is right now, right? Because
exactly.
he worked to take that all out of him,
100%.
and how it doesn't need to be a driving force of what you do, because at the end of the day, it's going to affect you, the person, right?
100%.
So speaking of those two type of fighters like Amanda and Francis, who just still have this type of, even Israel, even Usman, they still have this.
Did we not talk about Usman? Let's do a quick talk about Usman too.
I haven't really processed it enough yet,
I think they made him lose against Leon.
Again, I haven't really processed it.
Because I watched it, just like everybody else who is into UFC watched it. And he looked off. He looked real off in the second fight. Man, he whooped that guy's ass in the first fight, just as, Israel did to Pereira. He whooped Leon's ass in the first fight. And in the second fight, I don't know who I was seeing. I don't know who I was seeing. I literally didn't know who I was seeing. He didn't even do anything that was I don't know what I was seeing, but I think his mind was not there. I feel he was genuinely going through something. And if you are who that guy is, and you have reached or you've got into those depths of that sport, you are not in search of anything really anymore, because he's always going to be one of the greats, considering what he has done. He had never lost the fight till this one person who he had beaten prior to meeting again.
Yeah.
Right. So, I feel sometimes these things, there are so many things that go on because because I can know, because I go through, do all, my own thing. We all do our own things. We can sometimes know that your head cannot be in the game as it's supposed to, because your head could be somewhere else, and it would not really matter to you, the person, and it would not matter however it is that you're coming across to the world, even if you're lucky, you're seeming like you no longer as good or as great as whatever it is that you do, but you'll be going through some ordeal of life that only you could attest to.
Yeah.
And I just, in saying that, I just pray that, he gets back to whatever
it is that he's going to. Yeah. Because I think that what helps a little bit as a fan is how you see him process it. Sometimes you can't be more angry than the person himself. So I think that's what helps, is just seeing that how him as a person is just like, it's all right. Relax, like take it easy.
Yeah.
So it's like, I just try to remember the time that Jordan was with Chicago, not versus the Wizards, or when he went to baseball, right?
Oh, shit.
Because we don't talk about those times. We talk about those great times. Chicago, we don't talk
about his transition, huh? We don't talk about the ass times when that man went to play baseball, huh?
Or when he went to go play for the Wizards.
Or when he came back and played for the Wizards.
Yeah.
It's like, for some reason, nobody ever talks about them times.
Because he was that great that we're just going to talk about the great times.
It's like, scratch them times. That was not him.
So that's what I'm going to keep. And what Usman is doing for the fighting scene in Africa is...
Respect to that.
It's crazy.
Respect to that. And,
it's visionary.
To I just hope that...
He has a whole league, y'all, in case you don't know.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That to the people, of course, the people that are listening who do not know, who are listening, let's say from Africa, from Ghana, who are trying to find out a way to get into the sport in some type of way. You could basically start by researching with, the local leagues that, Usman's league, or at least the league that he's affiliated with in Nigeria. And I believe there's another one that, I think there's two of them or one, but whatever it is, there's something happening there right now that is, if you have a taste of this sport, or you at least have, because, I'm open. You already know that we already, creating or just almost done investing, basically almost done in, creating a little, Performance Institute. Just a little. I mean, I'm not gonna call it a gym because when it's UFC, it's supposed to be called a PI. So
training. It's like a training.
we are creating. Yes, of course. Inside is creating a little Performance Institute because we are into the sport. And we believe that in some type of way we want to just go past being viewers of the sport. We want to be invested in it in some kind of way. So since I'm not going to be in any ring and fighting, why not? I can have somebody fight for me. Yes.
We are invested in everything that helps to bridge that gap.
100%.
Entertainment.
100%.
Sports is part of entertainment.
100%. 100%.
Things that contribute to economic development, which is business.
100%.
Real estate. Everything 100%. You can think of. We are not in one area. We are in all aspects. We're in all sides.
I don't believe. I truly don't believe that that you need to be stagnant in any type of thing you're doing. I don't believe in you not evolving or basically getting more, especially if you yearn or you want more. I strongly believe in that. I believe in, it's okay to want more. It's okay, to feel you're not satisfied with whatever it is that you have and want to have much more than that, which I know that we are not really, it's not advocated a lot. And that's because most parents growing up or even in these times are not in the positions to make their kids have that type of attributes, right? But that's when I'm saying that if you are able to be, because I feel like in modern times, if you are from that side of the world or outside and you have means of listening to me, or that means you're past just the basic average, on top you have some type of you can watch a podcast, you could. We are parts of the people that can make those type of changes. You understand me?
So that's the real conversation, right? The real conversation is that.
It's
right?
not. It's not the ones who. Yes, the real conversation is
part of the things that you do. What you do, your company represents the things that they do. What they do is one based off own experience, and it's based off acknowledgement where we come from. Meaning that. Yes. We all are aware of how our culture is and how everybody wants their kid to be a doctor or a lawyer. And if you can't be those ones, at least you can be an accountant, right?
Yes.
And we come from a world where those things are so limiting that there's so many things that people can do on the face of this earth that can, one, make them happy. That's number one. They're happy to go to work every day. Right? That's number one. Mm-hmm. Number two, make a means for themselves and their family. And from our part of our world is still pushing that because they still our all elders still limit their mind on what those things are. Right? So everything that we do is not what people may seem is, or everything that we support also is not what, Africans or Ghanaian parents may see as the common one, but is the ones that contribute to society regardless. Because right now I can tell you, right, we've all been there where we've gone to school, pursue certain degrees, and those who had self-will change their mind through it and say, I'm not going to do this, right? I'm going to do this and that. But every single doctor I've spoken to, successful ones, every single lawyer I've spoken to, lawyers who are even Supreme Court justices, will tell you, don't do it. Don't do it. If I could go back, I would do something that my heart, truly desires. But I said it to say that that's part of it, right? That's part of pushing that envelope.
I feel like it's just, it's everything that you're saying. And also, what I was saying earlier, which is, I can't really go back, or none of us can really go back to let the people that are older than us or who are much more, who are older than us, just simply put, change their minds. We can't do that. What we can do is the ones we can inspire ourselves and evolve ourselves, and then have the ones, like, 'cause when what a lot of people would not recognize is, you see me, and of course, I mean, I pay attention to like what my daughter also, her opinion. It matters to me because we live in a time where, whether I like it or not, she is tech savvy. Whether I like it or not, she knows what a phone is. She knows what an iPad is. She knows what apps are. Now she has a limit to social media. She doesn't have no phone. She doesn't have no management or no social media account by herself or whatever it is. But she has Roblox. She has Tokoboka. She has other things that are created amongst their peers.
She knows fashion.
She knows fashion. She knows some type of other coding things that she does. I mean, fashion is a job, whatever. So when my daughter tells me something, or we are listening to something, and my daughter tells me, "Oh, do you know that this is this?" That's not a, because I'm from the place where it's like kawanutum, yeding, ediena unim, shut up, like, and this is, like maybe a younger self or a younger person or any person listening who once was young, would be told instantly, and the parent would not even give room for whatever it is that the child is about to say, right? Which it will be an instant shot, right? So it creates timidity mostly amongst those kids because it's a fear thing, right? When you're already, made to feel like you can have your opinions heard or said by your own parent or your home, it's easier to accept it when the teacher is the next person doing it to you, and the headmaster is the next person doing it to you, and then your employer is the next person doing it to you, and it just keeps on going and going. And the frustrations of those timidities or those lifestyles that are created are nothing but passed on to other people, because guess what? If somebody has felt like this their entire life, what do you think they're going to do? They're going to have to find somebody else to let them feel the same way.
Yeah.
Because that's all what they know. And that's all what they, in their little shitty minds, and I'm sorry I have to analyze it as that, will feel is the right thing to do, because it's all what they have known.
Yeah.
Right? And why do I say that as it is? Because I'm from those kind of those type of foundations. Now, what made it different for me? What made it different for me is, as much as my mother was trying to be this type of parent, the exposures in which she was doing these things around would not permit it to fully permeate into my brain. Because, I'm being yelled at and told you're Dean, but I'm in the UK, I'm in Germany, I'm in London. You are making, I'm in America. You are making me see all these places, and you are making me see all these cultures constantly, whilst I still live in Ghana, mind you, right? So if I'm trying to mind, when you say and you did Yedin or whatever it is, my answer is not going to be quietly Yedin, because I have seen my cousins in America who, when their parents say Yedin, they say, "Mom, shut up."
Oh my God.
Right? So
We're doing that.
Yes. So when you tell me Yedin instantly, maybe yes, I will Yedin, but 4 seconds right after, because yes, I have to
say it anyway.
I will have to say it anyway, because I'm an embodiment of a different exposure that I am capturing.
You're not gonna be disrespectful, but you're gonna
No, I'm not gonna be disrespectful, because I'm my mother's child, right? But the places in which she's making me privy to go to and all these things that I'm seeing is shaping my mind not to, be that timid, or not to believe in the timidity that my next neighbor is just, acquiring on a constant basis, because he's being yelled on for basically everything.
Yeah.
Or she's being yelled on for basically every question that she asks or speaks about. So you can imagine what this kind of atmosphere, what this brews. It brews an atmosphere where nobody's ever gonna love anybody for whatever the hell they do, because they were hindered into doing whatever it is they wanted to do.
Yes. And it's something, once you, and this is important, as you grow, becoming self-aware, becoming aware of things you've been through, acknowledging it, even when you also become a parent, because it's those small things that people may think it's very tiny, that don't affect people, but that do, right? being told to be quiet your whole entire life, which is like if someone's up to the age of 15, 16, that's a large span of life.
100%.
From birth to 16-year-old, if they're being told to be quiet, being told that their opinion doesn't matter, being told that they're not smart, or being told these things, it greatly affects them in adulthood, right? And one thing that, since you mentioned your daughter, one thing that I know was intentional was her hair, right?
Mm-hmm.
There were so many people that when she got older and she started wearing her hair out, especially Ghanaians, like, what is that? Like, why is it not in barrettes? And
you mean yes.
How I see
don't
kids
worry.
now.
I can let the listeners know what
How
they're
I
saying.
see kids now in Ghana or back home, which makes me cringe so much. What they do to little children's hair, little young girls' hair, which they don't know contributes to their lack of self-love eventually, contributes to them trying to do so many other things to fit in because they feel like what they have is not good enough, right? They've taken a 3 or 4-year-old and added extensions, or have taken gel and gel down the hair to give them adult hair. Certain things that contributes to them as they get older. And those little things. Those little things is like being quiet. Is those little things is straightening a little kid's hair. Is little tiny things that affect people in adulthood, right?
So since it's something that it's something that I went through, I can tell you 100%. I mean, of course, it's not what you're talking about as far as like my daughter's hair or whatever, or Mila's hair. With respects to basically the self-love and the things that lead up to people not really having it, just as like the thing I was just speaking about, and just speaking about also, which earlier one I said caused timidity, just like, one of the things that has never made sense to me, right, is also the thing that you're saying. I'm only going to speak about it because you mentioned it, right? It's the hair thing, right? It's the hair conversation, right? It's the because from back home, females or girls are made to cut their hair all throughout school entirely, all the way through. I think the only times you're allowed to keep their hair is through daycare and all of the type of young stuff, right?
Okay, like
But as soon as they go in from nursery and they hit the primary one, in most government schools, the hair is supposed to be chopped off, to some extent. But I know that it's also like over the years, it's been growing and evolving on an institution to institution basis, being it as the private institutions, have certain, and those are like the very high end ones where you could keep their hair up until a certain stage. However, when it gets to the secondary stage, it's mandatory across board that nobody goes to school with hair, and all girls are supposed to chop off their hair, right? Which, basically brings me to what I'm basically trying to say to you, or try to talk about now. If let's just put it like this, if you tell the average, because the reasons why I believe that the girls are told to chop off their hair, are the reasons why I believe, and I stand to be corrected, in the comments, or by somebody. So, and if I'm corrected, I'll speak of it in the next episode about, like, it. I guess it weirds me out why you have them chop their hair, because primarily you don't want them to over-sexualize themselves, right? Or you don't want them to basically style their hairs into different types, which basically would mean that they are being sexualized in some kind of way, right? Because that's the meaning of the reasons why you have them chop their hair and look just like boys, right? Or basically have them look like cadets or whatever it is. Now, I do not get it, because each and every single one of them in their third year will start to grow out their hair in some type of afro, preparing themselves, right, to, start getting hair. And, that's all of that. Later on they will evolve into what you see now, wearing all types of other human beings' hair and other created synthetic hairs on their head, because their naturally born head or their naturally born hair would have been made to start growing at a certain age. And even at that age, when it gets there, it starts to endure so much already. Like by the time they are made to, or they are allowed to start growing their hair, they instantly start going through a lot of perms, a lot of a lot of activating. Then they start to braid it, and the hair doesn't breathe, because it's just around the same time as when they've matured. They want to look good all the time. And eventually we get so many other things in the future. Boom. But now I'm saying that if it's on the reasons why, if you are basing it on their hairs being chopped up because it's primarily for over-sexualizing or whatever it is, then who are you speaking of? Are you speaking about the kids, over-sexualizing amongst each other? Because they are kids. They are, adolescents. They are at that age anyway. They are definitely gonna, because I know that whether the girls in my school had their hairs chopped off or they had the same haircut as me, it didn't stop me from wanting, whatever it is that I wanted to fornicate or do with them. It didn't change how they look to me. They still look pretty. They still look good. You understand me? We still did all sorts of naughty things.
So on that thing though,
right?
Because you're wearing the same uniform, right?
No, yeah, the same color uniform. Notice, obviously,
the girls are wearing the
same girls are all wearing the same uniforms. Yeah. Obviously, guys are
cut.
Yeah, hairs cut, chopped off. So all girls looking the same.
No
jewelry, none of that. No, not even no watches. You understand? It's not even. It's like and it's like, if you ask me if it's for certain purposes, which right now I feel like I don't know what the purpose of all these things are, because you grow up, you evolve, and when you grow up, you realize it's all a pretense and it's all a shit show. Because the girls can't tell you they learned anything from having their hairs cut from when they were young up until you made, you did not cause anything, right? You did not do anything. You did not, because this over sexualizing that you might be speaking of would be because of basically it will be because of the adults.
Because aren't
sorry about that, viewers.
An aunt told me this, which you can correct me right or wrong, right? An aunt told me this. I didn't go to school in Ghana. But an aunt told me this who went to boarding school. And she said that the funny thing is that majority of the girls end up sleeping with the adults, like the teachers. That's what I'm coming to, is like they're over sexualizing. Are you saying that they're over sexualizing themselves for the adults, which would be in this case the teachers, whatever it is? Because there are cases and there are instances a lot where the adults sleep with these girls. The same girls that have their hairs chopped off and stuff like that, and it's creepy to me, the level of pretense. It's creepy to me, the level of hypocrisy that is basked among us, that we get the jury home, like the level of pretense that is it's all over the place. It's so all over the place that you cannot even, because you could find. And the reason why I'm saying it's all over the place is because they're so judgy for people who, and that's why I'm saying all these things will cause. What do you think is going to be the evolution of making somebody go through this ordeal of life? They're going to not evolve into Bloomfield love. No, they're not. No, they're not. But beauty is not a crime.
No, but that's what I'm saying, that they're not, and that's the reasons why when this generation, right, or in these times. Of course, beauty is not a crime.
First of all, when women get old, they find out that beauty is a multi-billion-dollar industry.
But that's what I'm speaking about. That when you get into all, because who are the ones who end up, enjoying or doing or going through all these type of beauty. It's the same. That's the reasons why I speak of the hypocrisy, or that's the reasons why I speak of I'm sorry, I'm having a little bit of brain fart, but I guess I'll circle back to what I'm saying. That's the reasons why it doesn't make no sense to me, because it's like you're depriving people of who, because to look beautiful, to look beautiful. I'm sure I mean, obviously, clearly, but you could tell me that to want to look beautiful, it's a woman thing where at a certain stage you girls get to, that's all you want to feel. You want to feel like you want to take care of yourselves. You want to look good. You want to evolve. You want to do your hair. Because I have a daughter, and I could see it happen. I could see the transition literally. I'm not just speaking out of my ass. I could see that, now at 9, my daughter, it matters to her,
her own clothes,
like what clothes she will pick, or what, hair type her mother should do for her and stuff. So it makes me instantly know that these laws are creating deprivation. Like, they are depriving girls to evolve into their individual most selves, to their best selves, to their most best selves. They are never able to ever endure that, at least most of these ones, because it's just times are changing now. Thank God for change that is even being hard to go through, but it's happening to some extent. But it makes me realize, like, sheesh, a lot of girls. I mean, because I'm gonna, and this is just being boring from the topic of you bringing out the hair, right? But this is like some of the few things that girls are made to, like, but us guys, it's even crazy the ordeal that us guys are able to, like,
which you could speak on, because you're a male with hair, right? So I'm saying that you also come from a country where, and it's so funny, I mean, this is some real stuff. I'm not talking about things that are like 20 years ago, 30 years ago. You're a male with hair. In 2023 you started growing your locks
a few years back.
Like 2017,
whatever.
Wow, right? You've cut them shorter, they've grown longer, you've gone to different stages of it. But even in this day and age, I get surprised from where we're from, kind of the type of stereotype or the type of things,
the stereotype,
men with hair, right? And how they're looked upon, how they're acknowledged, even being married to someone where the comments like, "You're not gonna talk to him," they'll say it, and I'm not gonna say my tree because you're gonna laugh.
My name Trinity, no.
Right, or even the beard. Oh my goodness.
My name right? Beard, no. One say enough fine.
That hair in general.
So now my it's not nice at all. So one say a brand here we see so dear better than one money would mean in yet. It's like whoa.
Like, what?
It's like whoa.
Or even going and and getting stopped constantly.
Yeah, of course. Hey.
Just because you have
Rusty, won't stop it on. A born at home. Oh yeah, and I could say it so easily because it's like the back of my hand. I hate it, but it's what it is. You understand? And it's like, you want to know change. I am the change you're gonna see, because
grow it longer.
I know that I am. I know I am gonna be one of, if not the one, to make these things like a thing of the stupid past, where it's like, you're not going to stereotype me because of how I look, you understand me, or what I believe in, or no, I am meant to be different than you. I am not meant to be like you, but I am human just as you are human, or at least I embody there's so many things that make me human just as you, whoever it is who have the opinion, is. So I will show you how I can be, if not better than you, or just as you, with my hair. Or that's why I do what I do. Are you understanding me? That's why it's so hard for people to sometimes, accept who, I am or what I do. But you also will go through an ordeal where, because of what you've been around, you even believe in yourself less, or you will be giving yourself a hard time, just as the people who will be giving you a hard time, because that's all you would know. But if you're blessed and you go through the transitions in life, or you just evolve in life, you know that you have to love, your true self
Yeah.
for as it is, especially if, and in this case, in myself, and like I am gonna let you know that I have dreads, but I am this. I'm gonna let you know that I am this and I am this. I'm gonna let you know that my brain is capable of being able to, do this, or my body, like my child. Yeah, you can't tell me that because I have dreads, my child cannot go to be whoever it is that she wants to be, or my child cannot be somebody that inspires other children. Because growing up, nobody would have thought that, like, that would be the case. But we know what the case is.
And in this time, people will be very surprised of what she represents in the world, even in America alone, when it comes to modeling as a young girl. She is the
100%.
it girl.
No, 100%.
A brown skin.
100%. 100%.
Girl with
I mean, in my
hair.
like the thing is, the reader, no, and as you were saying, and I know you will continue, but the truth is, like, it's because America, or this in modern society, is created in a kind of world that if you are organically doing what you do and you represent it in this case the way you were saying she does, I mean, our words would not even suffice, because they would know, they will get to see, because of how much we only know it because of the rooms we are in and what we are privy to see now. But evolving takes time, especially if it's meant to reach a higher demographic, which we know that in this case she's a representation for a bigger, higher demographic. And because of that, it will take time before, and I'm okay with that. But just to say that I'm a man with dreads, wife. I mean, you're a woman with dreads, or my hair does look like this, and I'm speaking of that because it's the example that you brought. But basically, the general stereotyping that goes on that slows people, or slows, the average person from being able to achieve much more than they can achieve.
Yeah,
you understand, and also creates their mind to be filled of so much hate. Or so much. No, I said I was not gonna say that. So much anger,
sadness,
all of that, fear, and it's because of what they have had to. I mean, the ordeals. You understand, and also, right, in our place, or because there used to be no middle class, right? There used to be only the rich and the poor. Just that's the truth, right? Then it came to a time where there was mostly just only the middle class and just a few that was rich, right? And then also through it all, within it, there's been a lot of rural to urban migration, right? Being it as a lot of people that are functioning in the city, like either were born in like certain rural areas, and then their parents or they themselves later migrated into the city and evolved later on. So there's so many pockets, or there's so many different kinds of sets of people that are all thriving at the same time together.
Yeah.
Right. But the difference is these lifestyles or certain things that we spoke about is unanimously amongst most homes, where these like, whether it's the part of making the average person just have the fear of just being themselves in it, that's amongst most homes, whether it was a rich home, whatever home, rural to what type of home.
Back home in Ghana.
Like, yes, I'm not speaking of here, I'm speaking of with respects to Ghana, and respects to most parts of Africa. You understand, because it's just entirely, it's not just a Ghana thing, it's an African thing, because I will later on have stories from other parts, friends and foes from other parts of Africa that have similar, if not the same, stories as mine. So it's not a Ghana thing, but it's like it's unanimously amongst the place where it's like it doesn't even matter if the person and I even tell you that I embody so much of those kind of things, because as much as I would know different by my settings or what I will still I go to school with other, that's in a setting where no matter how much I feel like I am different, I am not going to be so much different, because There's so many. I went to boarding school since nursery 3. Like, I have been in a setting of multiple human beings for a very long time, right? So it's like, yes, my vacations or my bloods or my whatever was seeing different parts of the world and all those kind of things. But I will come right back into the setting. So whether I like it or not, I'll also grow to embody some of these things. Now, like I said, I'll maneuver my timidity, or I'll maneuver other things that will be much more in another person differently. And that will be where this exposures will make me different. But for the most part, I will be like most other people.
Yeah.
You understand me? Like, I will still have my fears, be like, present. I will still let my aspirations be somewhat like, limited, because who are you to speak so much? Like, you understand? Like, I still, and it's even that thing where sometimes, even if you're in a position to be different, you can't even be different because there's so many people that are around you who can't be different. So you have to be just like them, because
that has to be super hard.
That is hard. Now I'm old, and now, as I said on this podcast, I'm going to keep it a buck. So I will keep it a buck, and I'll say now, yes, it is hard, because you wouldn't imagine the amount of times where I'll have to bring myself to the setting or the level of be able to fit, because being different, I would not fit in, right? Because I will be part of, or be one of the only few people that would be privy to a certain type of lifestyle. So trying to move like that will make me it will make me look. So I'll have to bring myself to the levels of everybody. And yes, that is hard, but it has to be done, because you don't like, imagine being in a boarding school all this, and you want to come and shove it in people's faces that you just, like, midterms, you just went to, like, you just traveled and you sat in a plane and you came back. You want to rub it in people's faces? No. Because come back after midterms, we are all in the same dining hall. We are all being lashed. We are all, I understand what I mean. So you can't come and feel special. You can't, even if you feel like your experiences are different from anybody, you can't come and act different to anybody, right? Because it's like, fuck you, right? Because you might be traveling, that's your privy. Somebody else, father might be richer than your mother, who's making you travel. Somebody's distant. I understand it, because we're in a boarding setting. My privy was to be able to gain exposure. Somebody's privy was different. Somebody's privy was different. Somebody's non-privy was different. And for the most part, people were not privileged to most things, right? Because it's the continent. It's not going around for everybody. And so, I hope you understand where I'm coming from.
I feel like that's still an issue now.
Now, because now it's changing, because now you can crave for much more, and it's not, you don't have to necessarily seek it from the avenues that we were, or we averagely once used to seek it from. Kids back then, you would have to listen to, and not to say that you don't have to listen to your parents now and stuff like that, but that will be the school, the house, and the area mostly will be where your most foundations will come from. But now there's so many other things. You can be a kid in Kaneshi and learn the same, technology that a kid in North Carolina, has access to, if your brain would fish that. Right, there's access for you to be able to acquire knowledge worldwide now through the internet. So I feel like, yes, now, because of that, there is difference,
But that's still like on everyone's individual, I guess, strength, right? Because one thing I can say, growing up here, it's so hard to listen, because growing up here, it's very encouraged to be different,
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes, even when you don't have your parents who are encouraging you, or you still have the school system, and there are a lot of great teachers, coaches, guidance counselors, there's so many different other adults that kids get to interact with on a daily basis, that they find that one person who sometimes can point something out in them that they don't see. Or maybe they see it, but it gets chastised at home. But in this setting, it gets encouraged, right? And I'm asking that even for your experience or even for back home today, do you feel as though even if people are not able to get it from home in their school systems, right? Just like you're saying, someone who with technology, right? Is that high school student technology teacher or someone in their school seeing that, yo, I see that you're really good at this. Here is resources, or here's some way I can help you because I feel like you'll be great. Do you feel like the adults, even back home, even if they're not their parents, are able to still inspire and encourage and help?
Okay, so this is what I'll say. If it's on a philanthropy type of avenue, then I think that yes, because yes, people help a lot of people all the time, and people, yes, help is help, regardless of how. If you're doing it for show, you're doing it for whatever. I believe help is help, because being able to stretch your hands and help the next person to do any type of thing is what basically humanity, if you boil it down to, is, if you ask me. So help, yes, is very much important. However, I feel like if you're asking someone like me, it's going to be on a from then to a now basis, and from a then, no, like I went to a boarding school setting, right? It's not supposed to be my teacher who's only I'm in a boarding school setting, right? So I have to have, like, I have aunties, and aunties were the ladies or the caretakers that were be in these dormitories with us. I have a house master who's like, in charge of the entire house in which we will be at. And then, I have teachers, different class teachers, yada yada, regular, average, everyday, and also have a headmaster in charge of the entire school, and the friends and headmistress, blah blah blah. So, and in it's, there will be not guidance counselors, but there will be some type of, we don't be teachers. They will not be called guidance counselors, at least not in my school setting. But they are human beings, right? Now, were they doing that? I mean, maybe I'll find some, as we go on, I'll find somebody who went and say that they did, because I feel like most of these adults were just as adults in most parts of the country. They were depressed, stressed, and, like, I understand, because it's the same thing. They also have a level of deprivation that they are in the job because they need a form of salary. Right now, most of them, let me just boil it down to, like, let's say the aunties who were with us for throughout the most of the, they were good human beings, and I guess that's where they were hired. They were hired based on their humanity and how good of a human beings, but they were not hired based on scale, right? Because they are there to be, like, sort of like, the embodiment of, like, a mother, or like a nurturing and stuff like that. But most of these people were not in a position to nurture anybody because they were stressing, and this job itself was stressing to them. You understand? So, they will now even be the ones who will be giving a hard time to some of these children that will be having to grow up, right? So it won't be like what you're asking me right now. Like I said, now I don't know if, like, outside the school and outside the teacher and outside the internet, with the internet is like on a need to one-on-one base. I don't know who is going to be that, like, if it's a philanthropy, like I said, philanthropy, or if it's to give money, that I know is there. But if it's to give much more than that, I really still do not know, right? Because I feel like you can't say that nothing is not there, but I guess if it's really there, or if it has some level of majority to it, then we will not even have to ask if it's there. So it's not there, right? So yes, that I don't know, but maybe it's different now. But I don't think, like, it's a person to person. I don't feel like anybody, apart from, like, mostly the giving out funds, help, really, maybe, unless it's like, in a setting of practicality, maybe like a job or professionalism, or a professional setting, maybe like, mechanic or those type of things. But I don't think that's the question you asked me. I feel like, you just, because a guidance counselor is just somebody who basically will be able to, like a life coach, right? Or like, which we'll speak of in another episode, of course, which is like therapy and all forms of, like, basically having a support system outside the ones that that are your norms,
or your birth
or that you are birthed to. We are not privy to that. We aren't, and I guess now maybe it's changing, or it's whatever. But I feel like those things, they are very much important. I feel like those things are very, very, very important.
Yeah. Not now, when they really say knowledge is power, it truly is. And the crazy part is that, we've gone on it's not even a tangent because it all circles back. When we started this conversation, we mentioned from Israel to Usman to, other athletes and other people. One thing that you do hear in commonly in people's stories, right, is that someone saw something in them when they were younger that pushed them and inspired them to do what they're doing.
100%. Right?
And just how we're in an age where everyone's like, I want to create generational wealth, right? I want to do this for my kids and leave it from that. The smallest thing you can do is one of the biggest impacts, which is allowing them and encouraging them to be who they are and who they're designed to be on this earth.
100%.
Every child comes out with their strengths and their greatness. And it's important for the people who are around them daily to be attentive to that, to encourage that, and to help push that. Even if you may not have the resources, but put them in alignment, right? When you hear Israel's story, he said that he loved WWE.
Yeah.
He loved what is the Asian
yeah, he likes anime a lot.
Anime and Jackie Chan or something like that. That he loved to watch, right?
He basically has been left to enjoy himself.
He was left to mimic it, and however fun he was doing
go to school, do what you do, satisfy us, but do whatever it is you want to do in between.
Right? He was left to
That's one thing, actually, not to cut you. That's one thing that I feel like is also, because, we'll be wrapping up soon. That's one thing that also is different from that the Nigerians do better than us. And I'm sorry, that it's going to be it's going to come from a come from that type of setting or look, but I'm not trying to compare. I'm just trying to look at it entirely that I feel I got to realize it a lot here, right? And that will be because you see how much or how many Nigerians, came here just for college purposes, and how many of them whose parents, no matter the type of backgrounds that they came from, made it a part of their life to get them this education past whatever it is that they will be and me having in Nigeria. And it's that thing where it's almost as if you could, and basically I'm saying it based on what I've seen. It's like it comes almost across as like you do whatever it is, but just go to school. You could do whatever it is, but just make sure that you by
mastering something
and by that too, it's not like just go to school. They are providing means of the kids going to school. It's not even on a scholarship. These people are paying fees. You understand? Their kids are finishing the schools or whatever it is to the whatever level that we are able to reach for the crossover. And then because I'm not trying to say that people don't come to school here there's a lot of people also that come to school from Ghana here or stuff like that, but we know Nigerians top every part of the world.
You're now the numbers, and you're talking from facts, right?
I am talking from real facts.
We have done a lot of business.
This is data. This is data. This is no comparison. This is data. Nigerian students surpass every other national in America.
6 figures, yes.
They have
over 60 something thousand people
of graduating classes alone. Every time they are they have these numbers. So it's not coming from like I said earlier, I'm not trying to compare, but most of these people, their parents don't live here. Most of these Nigerians that are coming here to have these knowledge, because do you know what happens to? They take it right back to Nigeria. So you will be asking yourself that, okay, so how is Ira Star why is this artist so? Oh, I guess it's their management. Oh, I guess it's their this. But check this out. There's gonna be somebody in that team or in whatever team or in whatever thing that you're seeing whose experiences came from outside Nigerian knowledge. Right? So if you are watching something, maybe you are being able to you're watching something so nice and you're asking yourself, I'm not gonna cry into me. Yes, I do. Check this out.
starts from the foundation.
There has a foundation 8 times out of 10, and those foundations will have people who really have knowledge about whatever it is that they will be doing. So if it's a producer, or if it's a manager, a stylist, whatever it is that is ending up making you see whatever it is that you are enjoying seeing, they or that person has ample knowledge of whatever it is that you're doing.
Yeah, and
I hope you understand. I mean, you understand what I mean, but I hope that the average listener understands what I mean.
100% understand, and I think that this might be a very sticky question or statement, but I also see it in how wealthy people and exposed people from Ghana, adults, are also the roadblocks for their children, right?
Okay.
I get very surprised of the type of money that some of these people have and exposure that these people have and the type of school sometimes they're paying for their kids to go to, and cars that they're driving and houses that they're living in and all these types of things. But then how they limit their children from participating in the growth of their empire, their businesses, their networks. They limit their children on the ideas and concepts that they put money to and support. I get very surprised of that, right? And I actually do this all the time because I see, some wealthy people. I know some wealthy people, right? I see some wealthy people who have older children, who have gone all types of schools, right? Showing all types of money, buying all types of bottles, right? And their parents' companies are archaic, or what their parents put out. You're asking yourself, how is this of somebody who, you get what I'm trying to say?
Okay, so basically some and so that people know that the family examples, because some of these examples you're saying or you're giving will be so that the average person doesn't feel like this is a bash, because we have examples that are family and stuff, it might not be us, but it might be close family that she's asking example. So I'll answer based on that, and I was I guess for the lack of to simplify, you're saying you are sometimes shocked the level at which the companies are suppressed, or the life itself is not allowed to evolve to the next next possible, how do you call it, place, right? And
let me take an example. If you remember, we watched the thing of Fox News, right? The guy who owns Fox News, for a very long time, his two sons, right, were in the executive roles of the companies, right? That's why they were seeing, at some point in time, they were seeing
Murdoch,
right,
Rupert Murdoch.
Right. And there's other companies that we can name.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying, that, yeah, I guess I get what you mean. But, it's that thing where I was saying is, the parents, it will not be really entirely their doing, because it's a thing where it's a thing where it's within the country where we don't see, it's something that I can't touch, but it's just there, and that's the problem. It's one of the plagues that embody that country, you understand, or the setting, or at least for things there, which is it boils down to hypocrisy even, you understand. It's the parent knows different but can't do different because of how the look would be. You understand? The parent would allow the company to deplete or get as bad as they could possibly get, just to be able to basically keep a look going, or keep how things are setting look. I understand. There's so many people that, and I guess this frustrates me a lot, and it also hurts me that it's time, and that's the reasons why.
Right? We had to come back.
Yeah, that's the reasons why I'm because I know I can't say so much about it. That's the reasons why I'm pissed that because things or people are not allowed to evolve because of a thing that you can't use your eye to, and if you really have listened to the depths of the conversation that we've had, you'll be able to see that I have spoken about it in certain parts, or it has been spoken about in certain parts, where those will be the reasons why even a simple thing about like evolving a company to modern times, like a company that maybe was doing maybe some form of delivery in the 90s or in the early 2000s, to adjust into modern times, to realize that, okay, how am I going to use modern times to be able to evolve my company?
Like your logo hasn't even been updated.
Like how am I going to change certain things? How am I going to do this? Like, you know, a company that used to have like a back in the day PO blah blah blah. Okay, how am I going to change? Like evolving into modern times, right? And evolution is exactly that. It's not meant for it to just be, you know, stagnant. It won't be called that. You understand? It's not meant for it. It's meant for like why I was said, like, or if you have youngins, or if you like, it has to create. They have to know different, show you different, grow different, evolve different. Imagine if we're doing things the same way that we made it, like in the birth year in which we were birthed. Like imagine if there wasn't any level of evolution. Same way I'm here and I'm saying, boy, how the hell was it, or is it gonna happen? Right? And if you feel like an older person didn't allow a younger person to have, like, you know, their day or their shine, or tell them or show them different, like how would it have happened? Because all of which we enjoy now are from both adults and young brains.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, you know, we had to circle back and come back to this.
Yeah.
When you come back to this, one of the great examples of this is the owner of AEG.
Yeah, we're gonna speak about that, and we'll compare it. We'll compare someone like the owner of the AEG to like a local company, like, you know, since AEG is, and then like I guess when we come to that, we'll speak of what it is, or we can speak of any other company. You're speaking of Fox, because I mean, even if we're speaking of Fox, since it's like a media empire, we'll speak of like
UTV or something,
like UTV or something, which is also a local media empire there, and then just, you know, see what you're speaking of, and to dive into our next conversation. But yeah. You know, it's been business as usual. You know, we're going to circle right back, you know, as we do. And we hope, I hope you had a beautiful, beautiful, you know, session. You know, just keeping it buck, keeping it real short, keeping it simple. Happy Easter. You know, happy all of that. Happy, and yeah.
I thought you said it wasn't Happy Easter. I thought you said it was just Happy Day.
Yeah, my bad. You know, I'll be doing that. Yeah, happy day, happy day. Happy day. And don't come and shoot me. Happy day. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You're gonna circle back on that.
Yeah, I'm also gonna circle that. It's business as usual. It's business as usual. Yeah. Yo.